sit back and relax. Alright. America's bubble tea since 2010. Kung Fu tea. Do you guys have a Kung Fu tea? Alright, ready? Oh gosh. Guess you gotta go fast. I didn't bring napkins. Great. I hate these big straws, by the way. They're annoying. I was gonna tip it before I started the video and I forgot. Crapper. Let's see if I can mix these up. Oh well, whatever. Okay. It's got the aloe jelly and the boba. Let's put some ice in it. Will that close back up? No. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to take this off. God, I don't have any napkins. I'll just wipe it on my pants. Actually, I'm in my underwear because I'm in my closet and I didn't want to get hot. So I'm wiping it on my underwear. There we go. Oh, that's good. I think it does actually taste like pumpkin too. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if you can see it. Do you see the little white things in there? That's aloe jelly. This is good. Now, I don't know if anybody's interested in hearing about jobs that I've had, but anybody that follows me will know that I've had a job change lately. Let's try to get the tea in here. And I've been a little unsettled, you know, so I've been thinking lately, you know, about other things. It makes me realize that I really don't have a lot of job skills. I mean, it's kind of sad. So a little background about me. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I am not a nosy person. I do not like to get up in people's business. But the one thing I like to know about people is what they do for their job or their hobby. I don't know why, but that's interesting to me. So I like talking about that kind of stuff. Now, I have none of an impressive background when it comes to that. But I am just secure enough to talk about it. Put a little more ice in it. I did not go to college. My mom was a single mom for most of my childhood. And my parents were married, but they got divorced. My mom had me when she was 21. They were young. So my mom raised us by telling us that we couldn't go to college because, she couldn't afford to send us to college. And my mom actually didn't go to college. So I don't think my mom was aware of financial aid. And I think that my brother and I kind of got a little gypped. Not that you have to go to college, but I don't know. We weren't even really given the opportunity. But, my mom just didn't have the awareness that I guess I had raising my kids, And even though I didn't go to college, my kids were all blessed enough to be able to go to college. So, oh my gosh, is it stuck in there? Oh, it was stuck. These are fun. Okay. Focus, Jojo, focus. Okay. My first job really was as a babysitter. So when I was 12, I started babysitting this little boy and little girl. They were 6 months and about a year and a half. There was an ad in the paper, because back then that's what we looked at to find things, was in our local paper. And there was an ad looking for a babysitter, which was right down the street from my house. So I called her. She asked me how old I was, and I was 12. And she said, "Oh, I'm really looking for somebody older than that." And I said, "Well, why don't you meet me, and you might change your mind," because I was very mature for my age. She said, "Okay." So I rode my bike down to her house, and I got to her house, and I met her kids. The baby, little girl, and then a little boy. For the sake of making this too long of a video, I did get the babysitting job, and I babysat those kids until they started school, and until I was a senior in high school. Oh, and one time, the little girl choked on a jelly bean, and I had just taken a CPR class in my health science class in high school, and we just got CPR trained, and I dislodged a jelly bean from her throat and saved her life. Yeah, that was quite scary for me. So that happened. Okay. Oh my gosh, I gotta get to moving. My next job was at an ice cream stand that my stepdad got for me when I was probably like 15, 16, something like that, 14. I freaking hated it. I cannot work under that kind of pressure. I can't make drinks and sundaes and all this variety. I suck at it. I get confused and flustered, and I remember watching all the rest of the people that were my age. People would order a certain kind of a sundae or a shake, and they're like, "Okay," and they're making it, and I'm just like I couldn't absorb it. It just was too much for me. So yeah, that didn't last. I think I worked there for about a week, and as much as I like ice cream, the smell of the ice cream just got to me after a while. So that didn't last. I mean, I didn't really need the job. I was a freaking kid. He just thought it would be fun for me. It wasn't. I didn't want to eat anything today because I knew I would be blabbing. Okay. Next. Again in high school, I got a job working at a retirement home, a nursing home per se. My good friend worked there, and she said, "You should get a job working with me." salads and all that stuff. That stuff grossed me out. So I asked if I could be demoted back to the bagger position, but they said they don't demote, they only promote. So I had to stay working in the deli bakery. One of the things that frustrated me about that was at the end of the night, we would take all the donuts and we would wrap them, you know, in the little packages. So when you go to the grocery store, you can buy like a little pack of packaged donuts, you know. And we would only make like, I don't know, 20 or so packs of them. And then they would have me throw the rest of them in the trash. I would throw them in the trash and take them out to the dumpster. And at 18, I was like, this is not good. I don't feel good doing this. So, anyways, at some point I left that job. Okay. So I left Kroger because I got a job in a factory, a plastic injections molding factory. So I was a machine attendant, and I would stand at this machine, this hot machine, that had this hot steel mold in it with plastic balls that would fall in it, and it would form something. I had to open the door, take the mold out, and trim whatever it was making. So when I first started working there, it was making like little cups that you would drink out of, like at a hospital. Like, I mean, this is the 80s, okay? It was a little plastic cup. You know how on the bottom of a plastic cup there's like a little round spot that's like a little rough spot? That's where the stem is that comes out of the mold. So I would have to take that out, trim it. It could be on a, I don't know, maybe like a pack of like, 10 cups or something. And I would have to take that out, close it. And while I was making the next mold, I'd have to trim all those stems off. I had boxes, and I would pack the boxes, layer them, pack them. You had to do it all really quick before the next one was ready to come out. My feet are falling asleep. I gotta scoot down. So I did that, and it was always different things. So, you did cups, and then you'd come into work, and it would be something else. But it was a new company, and they ran out of supplies a lot. They would sometimes call and tell me that I didn't need to come in because they didn't have enough, supplies and whatever. So I worked there for a while. Oh, I worked a midnight shift too. It was me and these two guys. One guy's name was Keith. I don't remember the other guy's name. Brian and Keith. Yeah. And we worked midnights together. There was no bosses. It was fun. I was 18. Sorry if this isn't a relaxing video. I need to learn to be more relaxing. And it's hard for me. I need to be more relaxing. Okay. So then I went to work for a temporary agency. They had jobs working in injection molding, and so I was hired by different places, and I would go work for them and clip all their things. So one of the companies that I worked for temporarily, we made car models. Do you know those car models, like when you buy like a model car? Like my brother used to love them. It's a box. I don't even know if anybody buys those anymore. It was a box, and it was all like little pieces, like part of the frame, and then on this little plastic thing it had all like the wheels and the rims and the headlights, and everything was like, and you just had to twist them off, and you would put the car together with glue. My brother loved those. Well, that new job, that's what I did there. Those were difficult. It would come out and I have to trim all those little pieces of plastic off. And sometimes it was too much plastic, and anyways, I won't get into all that. Gosh, how long is this video? Okay. So then I found another job. Now, mind you, I didn't quit and then not work. I worked until I found another job, and then I would leave that job. So the next job I went to, by now, I think I was about, let me think. I'm going to say about 19 maybe. I don't know. Not much time had gone by. I got a job working for a company called the Andersons, which was a local store, a big, really popular store that everybody loved. They offered everything. But I didn't work in the store. I worked in the warehouse. So I worked in the warehouse where all the merchandise came from. So I got hired in the warehouse, and I did different jobs in the warehouse. I started at putting the pricing stickers on all the products, and then I moved to the bulk shipping, where I worked in the shipping department that sent out all the big bulk items. And then I worked as a checker, which was the person that typed all the information into the pricing machine that made the stickers. You checked everything in and then sent the stickers down. There was no barcodes back then, okay? Everything had stickers on it. Again, this was the 80s. So I worked there for about 5 years, I think, till I got in my 20s. So the Andersons were a family, and they had what they called the compound, and it was a big piece of property with all of the people in their family that lived on it. They had the main home, the big Anderson home, and then as the kids grew up and got married and had families, they built on the property, on the compound. There was tennis courts there. There was a swimming pool. There was all sorts of things. And my friend and I, actually, while we were working together for the Andersons, we started renting the maids' quarters in the original home. So they would rent that out, and we found out about it through work. And we rented the upstairs of the original home. Now, the matriarch, Mrs. Anderson of the family, told us that we were not allowed to have boys in our apartment. Now, mind you, we were both dating somebody, and they did come over. So she promptly told us after we were there, I don't know, maybe a year, that she saw boys leaving and they weren't allowed to be there. We told her they were our brothers, but she said they couldn't come anymore. So, we both decided we were going to leave because we were paying rent, and we're like, we're not going to be told that we can't have our own boyfriend at our apartment. So we left living there. I worked there till I was in my mid-20s, and then I left there, and I decided I wanted a more sophisticated job. At the Andersons, I wore steel-toed boots, and it was really hot. It was inside of a warehouse, and I would get out of work, and I was so hot. We weren't allowed to wear shorts. We had to wear jeans. I would get out in the summer, out to my car, and I would open my door in the parking lot at work, take my pants off, and drive home in my freaking underwear. And I lived in an apartment by myself, and I remember one day pulling up, and the guy that lived below me was sitting outside on a chair with a buddy, and I pulled up right in front of him, and my apartment was right above his, so I had to walk past him, go up the stairs, and go into my apartment. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I sat there for a minute, and I'm like, screw it, I'll just pretend like I'm in my bathing suit. So I opened the door, grabbed my boots, my jeans, my bag, walked right past him, and I said, hello. And he said, hello. And I walked right past him in my underwear, and I walked up to my apartment. But that summer, I said, I'm not working here anymore. It was so hot and miserable. And that's why I left. It was just uncomfortable. So I got a job working for an insurance broker, and it was in the downtown area. So I worked there for probably a good 4 or 5 years, and I worked as a receptionist in property casualty. I wore dresses and pencil skirts and heels and all that stuff every single day. Worked the downtown life, would get off work, go down to the downtown festivities, especially in the summer. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun working down there. Let me tell you. We had one of our popular radio stations above us, and they would give us like concert tickets and stuff. I'm forgetting that I'm doing an ASMR video and I'm just blabbing. I'm sorry. Okay. Next, after I worked for the insurance agency in the property casualty, I got moved over into the employee benefits side, where I was a receptionist, and then I became a claims processor. I would write the claims out and confirm their insurance, and then I would send them to the person that paid them. That is where I was working during the time that I had gotten married. After about a year of being married, I found out that I was having a baby. I didn't find out. I tried really hard to have a baby. So I was pregnant, and I was lucky enough to be a stay-at-home mom. So I stopped working during my pregnancy. I became a stay-at-home mom for a long time. At that point, I had my first child, and when she was 2, she was the only child I had at the time, I decided I wanted to get out of the house and do something, because I hadn't worked in like 2.5 years. So I got a job working as a breakfast concierge at a hotel. Now, this was just something to do a couple days a week to get out of the house and earn a little bit of my own money and feel like a person again instead of just a mom. So, like when you go to a hotel and they serve the complimentary breakfast, I was setting that up. I would go there really early in the morning on the weekends, and I would set up the complimentary breakfast, get all the stuff out, set it up, keep it stocked, keep everything wiped down, and just be focused on that for, a few hours for as long as it was open. And then I would clean it all up and then leave. And after about a week or 2 of doing that, I was visiting my mom's house with my daughter, and she had a friend over that I had known for a very long time. And I told her what I was doing, to get out of the house. downtime.